Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. To my subscribers, I say welcome back, and to the new subscribers, I say welcome onto this channel. The video I'm about to talk about is about Pastor Mathew Ashimolowo. Pastor Mathew Ashimolowo is the senior pastor of KICC. He used to be resident in UK before he had issues with the UK government and he relocated back to Nigeria. He's one of the senior pastors in Nigeria, well known, very popular, and is especially popular for so many controversies. For example, there was a time he was asking people to give the Lord $1,000 each for the number of years they have spent on earth to show their gratitude to God. If you are doubting me, watch.
Expectation. For every year you have lived on earth, I want you to give 100 naira. No, 1,000 naira, sorry. For every year you've lived on earth, I want you to give 1,000 naira. So if you've lived on earth 35 years, 35,000. If you've lived on earth 60 years, 60,000. Those people stand on the right. Those who are giving $1,000 to the left. 1,000 naira for every year you've lived on earth. To the right. Those are doing both in the middle. $1,000 to the left. 1,000 naira for every year you've lived on earth. To the right. Those who are doing both in the middle. Get out of your seat. Listen. You must be able to plug into a seat during these 3 days.
Before I go ahead, let me read comments from my last post, because that video generated some controversies, and this will take me to the next level in this video about Pastor Mathew Ashimolowo, how he used £5 million to do Ponzi scheme. Yes, you heard me right, not 5 million naira, 5 million pounds. But before we go on, let me go and read some of the comments people put down on the last video I did about Sunday Adelaja and Chris Oyakilome. Some people we agreed and so many didn't agree, especially some new names that I'm seeing on my page, and I welcome them. Hour of Perfection with Pastor Joe says, there is no serious-minded pastor who should have the time to start attacking others. Ministers are custodian of peace, according to 1 Timothy 2:1. When you leave your priestly ministry to try to bring fellow ministers down. Songs of Solomon 1-6 says, my own vineyard I have neglected. In other words, I want to believe Aura of Perfection is agreeing with what Pastor Chris said, that because Adelaja left his ministry to attack other ministers, he's going through what he is going through. Masha Siyaka said, when a man starts talking about someone else like that, whether it's true or false, it simply implies that you have failed. Wow. Okay. We see things differently. Anna More Happy says, wow, what is Pastor Chris really saying? I am baffled. Can't people read their own Bible? I am not a fan of Sunday, but he is here telling the honest truth. Where love of God reigns, the power of God manifests. In other words, Anna is saying, why will Pastor Chris says this? That can't people read their own Bible? Even though, like I said to that, I'm not a fan of Sunday Adelaja, but Sunday is saying nothing but the truth about pastors in Africa, and especially in Nigeria, where I come from, where we have the richest pastor coming from, and yet we have the highest number of unemployment in Africa. And not only that, a lot of vices, a lot of things are going on in Nigeria. So what happens to the custodian of peace of that country? Why can't they keep the peace in that country? Why are things upside down in Nigeria, despite having thousands, if not millions, of custodian of peace, who we call the pastor? So this video is about Mathew Ashimolowo, how he invested £5 million of his church fund. This actually brings tears to my eyes, because if you have £5 million as an individual, in a country where you live, where you come from, and you cannot have an industry to take the youth off the streets and employ them. And you can think of, all you can think of is looking for ways to double the money. I think this is a game of player being played. Mathew Ashimolowo, like you saw in that last video about him, was seen asking people to pay $1,000 for each of the years they have spent. So for somebody like me, I have lived for 54 years. So he's telling me to bring $54,000 to thank God for keeping me for 54 years. And you know, pastor will not kill somebody. Life in Chinese. So, Pastor Ashimolowo was actually scammed by highest scammer in the person of Richard Rufus, a footballer. Let me read it out to you. Ex-Premier League star Richard Rufus, 47 years old, invested £5 million for church and he lost 3.5 million after telling board of his experience with JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs. This ex-footballer was known to be, he said he's an investment man. So he approached the church. He said, come, bring your money, because he knows they have money. He knows how much goes into the purse of the church. When I tell you your pastors are very rich, and as rich as they are, they wanted to bring more. It shows how greedy your pastors are. As rich as this guy, he knows that they are scammers. So he work on them. Rufus Richard is a footballer. That's his picture. Correct dribbler. He dribble Ashimolowo. The guy dribbled Ashimolowo of his money. At a time, Ashimolowo was going through crisis with the UK government. And because Ashimolowo is a businessman, I tell you, your pastors are businessmen. They collect from here, collect from there, and collect from everywhere. Which was what Sunday Adelaja was saying in his video. I will put the video again at the end of this video. I am not a fan of Adelaja, but Adelaja in that video spoke nothing but the truth about Nigerian pastors. He may not be far different from them, but I don't know much about him other than he too has a problem with the Ukraine government. So your pastors like to collect. They collect from even the poorest of the poor. They merge it together and invest somewhere. Some of them have been named in the Pandora box of keeping money in so many islands for their family, investing. It's so sad that they collect poor money, the money from the poor, the rich, and not so poor, and they merge together to invest for their own family. So Richard Ashimolowo gave Richard the money. They gave it to him. I think they first gave him £1 million, and he told them things are working. They actually appointed somebody to be monitoring the investment. And each time Richard is telling me the investment is working well. Bring more. Bring more. So, and according to the footballer, he said the £5 million was as a blessing the church has experienced. But eventually, good enough, they didn't even lose all the money. They lost 3.5 million out of the money. This case has been on for long. And as at the last time, which was some weeks ago, this Richard Rufus was taken to the court again. And it's unfortunate that they've not been able to recover some of the money back from him. And this guy has been named to be a big scammer. He scammed people of £15 million, not only the church. And he's used to driving rich, exotic cars. He loves beautiful, of course, they love beautiful things. You know, he lives a rich life, has a big mansion, big houses. And the guy was having fun, enjoying his life. And the one wey sweet me pass, this one sweet me. If you like, abuse me. But this really, really sweet my belly was Richard Ashimolowo's money being taken away by this pastor. So this guy was very smart, very, very smart. He played a smart one on them. He dribble, you know, a dribbler. He dribble Miss Ashimolowo. After dribbling Ashimolowo, the guy pockets the money, enjoyed life. Even if he go to jail, he has enjoyed the life, he has enjoyed their money. And maybe kept somewhere. After jail time, he comes back to it. So they lost a lot of money, 3.5 million. And the case has been adjourned till next year, November 20, to be precise, to take the guy back to court. But trust me, I'm not sure they can recover or recoup the money. And it surprises me that even at this stage, I find out that Ashimolowo is on social media now. He too have started ministry on Facebook. I said I won't say this, so people will start following him, because people mumu that can never finish among Africans, especially Nigeria. We're supposed to be smart. I don't think we can ever be smart than all these religious people, because we have been so indoctrinated that we think they are everything and everything. Thanks for watching. I don't mind. Please kindly put your comments down, even though you don't agree with me. Like the comments I read from the last video on Sunday Adelaja and Chris Oyakilome. I saw diverse opinion, and that makes it beautiful to read from each everyone. So I'm looking forward to read from you as you watch this video. What is your opinion? Is it okay for somebody to have such money, and you are in a country where people need job, you are in a country where people need help, and all you can think of, and these are people's money, not the money you or your family work for. These are money contributed. As can see in that video, Ashimolowo has been there for forever. He has been there for a long time, because I remember in those days as a Christian, when he used to come to Lagos, he was still in UK then. He will come for program. They will ask people to sow the seed of 1 billion naira, sow the seed of 2 billion naira. We never knew it was to enrich themselves. I'm talking about 20 years ago, 20-something years ago. So when I'm talking, I know what I'm talking. I've been there. I was once there, even as a pastor's wife. Not that was a church, as a pastor's wife that was working for all these pastors. We never knew they were nothing but businessmen. They use you and they dump you. Thanks for watching. Don't forget, my name is Mathew.